Been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th, and there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi Dad, I know this has been a family, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all the decent clothes? Mom!
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know how I sound in chat here as I fix my mic. I might need to put the new brace on here. All right. Let's see here. Let me fix this real quick. Whoa, I don't waste. Where are we going?
A voice and an exuberant smile that have been missing for a year that Sebastian Rogers has gone without his favorite thing.
Okay, pause that for just a second here. I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. Let's get this situated here, and we are just days away from the 2-year anniversary of Sebastian Rogers. I think most of you guys are familiar with his case. Been heavily involved in this case, basically from the beginning. So much has gone on, but then in the past many months now, it is, especially from law enforcement, has been just absolutely crickets in this case. For anybody that's kind of new, maybe coming over from the Nancy Guthrie case. But this child needs to be found, and justice brought to him and those who are responsible for abducting him. But for anybody that's not familiar, I will play this little clip here. This is just a little news highlight of his story here. I get this set up right. And I am so sorry. Was it Sensei or Sassy? Sassy, I'm so sorry. Was it Sassy that broke her finger? Oh. Yeah, Sassy.
A voice and an exuberant smile that have been...
Yeah, I hope you get feeling better. I've broken a few of those, and they are no fun.
Missing for a year that Sebastian Rogers has gone without his favorite things.
Cats are the number one. He loves animals, almost all animals.
Animals, video games, books, and any chance in the pool.
He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed his birthday.
December 7th. He would have... He turned 16, and he should be home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home since February of last year. After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that might cause him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
When I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
We need you to search your properties.
No, she caught herself, says Sasha, I'm sorry. If we go back to this, she started to use him in past tense, and she caught herself. Watch. He would have, and then you can almost see where she was going to mouth, oh shit, or shit.
He loves water. He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed his birthday.
Right here. Notice the past tense, and then she catches herself.
December 7th. He would have.
And there she catches herself, and then you can see her mouth basically shit, and then corrects herself.
He turned 16, and
oh,
he should be home for that.
But Sebastian, who has autism, hasn't been home since February of last year.
Yeah.
After dinner at the Texas Roadhouse on the 25th, Katie says she and her son went home.
Did anything happen the night he went missing that might cause him to run away? Was he punished in any way? An argument? Just a normal night?
It was a normal night. It was a calm night.
That turned tumultuous by the next morning.
When I went in his room and he wasn't there. He wasn't in his bed.
Katie says she frantically searched the house and drove around the neighborhood at 6:30 a.m. until she and Sebastian's stepfather, who says he was away for work at the time, called police.
We need you to search your properties every day.
But an Amber Alert and an extensive week-long search didn't yield one significant lead or even a glimpse of the boy on any doorbell cam video. Days later, investigators combed through a landfill 2 hours away, still saying they had found nothing.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it.
I want to go back. Did she use the thing with the water in past tense?
Loves animals, almost all animals.
Animals, video games, books, and any chance in the pool.
He loves water.
Maybe. It sounds like she did say loves.
He swims like a fish.
Sebastian also missed
but
his
definitely past tense with the birthday. So. I think that's okay, Pocahontas, but that's okay. So yeah, for anybody that's not familiar with the case, I'm sure 99% of you are, but if you aren't, he went missing 2 years ago. We are coming up on the second anniversary, which is just terrible. He was reported, an Amber Alert went out on the 26th, and in the original posters, it said that he was last seen on the 26th, but technically he was last seen on February 25th. But I believe they're going to celebrate the 2-year anniversary on the 26th. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I was kind of curious, because after a year, they did actually switch the last known sighting from the 26th to 25th. That was very kind of controversial controversial because they wondered, was he seen on some kind of surveillance camera? He went to bed around what 10, and then 9 p.m. right? He went to bed, and then there was a thud around 10 p.m. And then that was the last time, allegedly, the mother heard from Sebastian. But many people, including myself, believe that the mother and stepfather and others are involved in some way in his disappearance, in my opinion. And then when you look at the lead Sumner County Sheriff's Office, they have not been very forthcoming with many details at all. You look at the Nancy Guthrie case, a lot of different press conferences or interviews with the sheriff, being semi-transparent, where this case there is nothing oh, that's awesome. I hope you find him, Ty. If anybody will, I'm sure it'd be you. Good luck out there, and be careful and be safe. It is rough out there. He will be found. But back to this case, as you can see, this is pulled this up on Chat GPT, and again, Sumner County Sheriff's Office is the lead, with the FBI assisting and TBI as well. And all they've done is issue an Amber Alert. Then they did one press conference in late March or early April, forget the exact date. And then since that, it's really been the last three, maybe something for the anniversary. Actually, I think the anniversary was just to say they were all responses to either, with Green Hoodie in December 2 years ago, and then a sighting that happened last year, and then the 1 year anniversary statement, which also they had to correct Mr. Fishsticks about the alleged sighting of Sebastian, and that is it. We have had nothing. I've sent stuff in, although there was a little bit of response. I had to do it through a third party, and I'm not getting into too much of that, but I think they've been very closed off, and I think, in my opinion, they've kind of dug themselves a hole. But anyway, today's live, it's not going to be long, but I thought we would go over the LPR data that Crispy mentions, and it kind of got me thinking about some things, and a certain video that was put together by, I believe, Lauren from Facebook. She's always been a very big advocate for this case, so we'll kind of dive into that. Let's see here. They do, DD. In my opinion, the last live I did with this case, I talked about comparing how Katie and basically Crispy, how they've not utilized the 1%, as I call them, cases that actually get the national media attention, whereas there's God knows how many missing person child cases that are out there where I'm sure a parent would give their left, a limb for to get this kind of attention, yet they have not been be able to capitalize on it, versus Candace Cooley, who was out there every day. If she wasn't on a national news media outlet, she was on YouTube, you name it, and any details that she could share, theories, she was all for it. It is a complete 180 when it comes to the mother and stepfather. Seth has done interviews. In my opinion, I wish she would do more. I understand, it kind of depends on what's going on. We have the Nancy Guthrie case where obviously a lot of people are going to be um, attracted to that. But when there's a little bit of downtime and there's not a lot going on, like this last year, they could have taken huge advantage of that, really. And I'm talking about Katie and Crispy. Seems as if they're trying to get away with. Well, yeah, I think they just want it to go away. They don't want that attention. Yet they have that one again, the 1%er. They're in the 1%, and they're not taking advantage of it. And it's a shame.
Today by Susan Nyland, SUSANNILAND.
So we will get to the LPR data. I just want to play just a little bit. This is the one and only press conference regarding Sebastian Rogers. And I was going to go, because I was doing multiple things today, working on the Guthrie case and this one. And we will get into the LPR data, but I thought I would play this one part where the TBI is talking, and just how I think maybe one of the scenarios of why they just completely shut down is because they were basically kind of caught lying, and not in a good way. I understand that they need to keep certain information from the public, but I think they buried themselves really early and dug themselves a hole, and that didn't sit well with the public. But here is just a few little highlights from the press conference. It starts out with Sheriff Craddock, and then it goes to the TBI agent, and I think it's a complete 180 between the two. But there's something that TBI agent talks about that I think is very huge.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, she's the PIM. I also have with me Sumner County Emergency Management Director Ken Widener, KenWeidner. You guys ready? All right. Morning. I'm Eric Craddock with Sumner County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, I think I want to just...
The many individuals who have helped in the search, the many individuals who have called in tips, the many individuals who have printed flyers and kept Sebastian's face in the news. Nothing would make me happier than to wake up tomorrow morning with a tip that cracks this case wide open and we find Sebastian and bring him home. At this time, I'll turn it over to Susan Nyland from the TBI.
Thank you, WG. Hi, good morning. Thanks for being here. We know how invested everybody is in the search for Sebastian, in finding out what happened to him and bringing him home. And we want to let everybody know he has not been forgotten. Nobody's forgotten about him. Nobody has given up looking for him. At the beginning of this investigation, there was a large land search for him. It was very visible. There were also waterways, lakes, ponds that were searched. There were aerial searches with helicopters and drones and fixed-wing planes. They were done at night. They were done on weekends. They were done during the day. That was very visible, and it was something everybody was able to see. But we want to let you know that even though there is not that high visibility in investigating this case, that we are not done. It's gone back to what could be considered good old-fashioned police work.
Basically meaning it's likely a criminal investigation.
Interviewing individuals, re-interviewing individuals.
And why would you interview if it wasn't a criminal investigation?
Checking out leads, rechecking leads. We have been working with other law enforcement agencies who have had, in other jurisdictions, who have perhaps had some complex cases of their own that they have worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again.
And I think that's says so much about the surveillance that they have. I don't know why if there's nothing on the surveillance and it's clear that there's nothing on it, I don't know why you would review it and review it over it again, unless you've got, you know, dark footage of flashlights and cars driving around in a time in the time window that he went missing near his home.
Worked on to get tips from them. We have had, this day of technology with everyone having cell phones and doorbells and ring bells and surveillance cameras. That, as you can imagine, has been a bit of a chore to be able to collect all those and then review them. It's important so we know what's out there. We have been reviewing that, reviewing it again. We have had other agencies involved. The FBI has been helpful in that. Secret Service has also been helpful in that. So we are just trying to do whatever we can.
I don't know why you would need all those agencies. And she's got to be talking about the footage. I know this is kind of beating a dead horse, but again, I don't know why you'd need that if it's a garbage truck, clearly a garbage truck just driving around, right?
And to advance the investigation. It has not gone to a place where anybody has forgotten about him or is not pursuing this. The parents have been cooperative throughout. At the beginning of the investigation, they have pretty much done whatever law enforcement has asked of them. At this point, we don't have any evidence. There is not any kind of an indication that there is a criminal element involved. But we are keeping options open. We don't know what has happened. We don't know where Sebastian is right now, so we are pursuing any and all avenues. We do want to caution there are some social media elements out there who purport to have information that is direct from the investigation. I just want to reiterate that is not the case.
Welcome to independent journalism.
Some of the information that is being provided on some of the social media channels is inaccurate, incomplete. We don't want this to damage the investigation, so we would just caution anyone who is following the case to just use some caution as to what you see and what you believe. It's caused a bit of a distraction because a lot of what has been out there in some of the social media channels has been rumors and speculations and theories, and some of that has been advanced. And
well, when you don't give us much to work with, we have to go do our own digging. If you were forthcoming and, did press conferences, I don't expect them every week, but, a little bit of transparency and a little bit of trust with the public, I think it'd go both ways. But then we're left with, trash trucks and then just about finished here.
People have caught a hold of it as if it's what's really happening. That has resulted in us getting information that is either, like I said, distracting. It's taking away time and effort from what the agencies need to be doing as far as looking for Sebastian. We have had so far, as of this morning, 314 tips that have come in through the tip line. It's been mentioned, but I'll say it again. It's 1-800-TBI-FIND. We are also taking tips through email, which is tips to TBI, TBI, at tbi.tn.gov. What's next? We want people, as the Chief Deputy said, to continue to remain vigilant, get Sebastian's picture out there, continue to share his picture, his information. Now that it's getting to be nicer, well, not today with the weather, but now that the weather has turned warmer, people may be more
involvement in this case, and have to follow up.
And then one last argument just to bring up, and we'll get to the LPR data here in about 10-15 minutes tops.
Have you cleared their alibi?
I think the TBI said it best. They've been nothing but cooperative with law enforcement.
Okay.
Any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
So, of course, I'd have to look at my dates. I don't have them all in front of me. But this is one of the big mistakes and I've even spoken to two people that were a part of the crew here.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here?
Well, let me back that up just a tad.
Not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful?
Wait,
Foul play on the part of Sebastian's parents.
Is that moving to Memphis interfering at all with your investigation? Is it changing possibly the avenues of communication?
No, sir.
You mentioned you were asked about recent evidence. We've heard some rumors that you seem to have some validity, that there was glasses found within the past few days. Can you confirm that?
There were some glasses found in the past few days.
Have you been able to identify that they were Sebastian?
We are still investigating.
And on the Cajun Navy, have you found how is that coordination happening? Have you found their work helpful? Are you guys working in unison or a separate team?
The Cajun Navy is operating independently. They have not reached out to us.
Have you found their investigation or their work helpful, or has it been one of the distractions that have been mentioned?
One of the things that I really appreciate they've done is print flyers and keep Sebastian's face out there. It's my hope that one day somebody sees something and calls in and this case breaks wide open and we find Sebastian.
They've claimed they've received threats. To your knowledge, have they filed any police reports or reports to the Sheriff's Department documenting any of these alleged threats?
No, sir.
And of course, they did interviews, and I've spoken to two people that were attached to this group, Cajun Navy, and yes, they did get threats, and yes, they did report it, and he was up there literally lying, and they were furious. I mean, could you only imagine, organizing a team like that with the equipment they have, Cajun Navy, and they're just getting off. I mean, I think they're playing a video. I'm not sure if it's Cajun Navy I have it, it's blocked right now, but on the other screen, is the Riley Strain case, because they were, that was developing as well at the same time as this press conference. And, they're sitting there out there, helping, and this is how they're thanked, by getting threats, and then these aren't taken seriously, and Craddock lying about them. Doesn't bode well, for the public.
Are we able to learn anything about what those threats are?
They would have to call the police and report them.
Where does the search go from here? It's been 5 weeks, there's been no signs. Do you believe he's still alive? And what?
All right, so
you all for being here today.
Of course, lied and broke trust with the public and even the neighborhood, where they did a lot of interviews when speaking about what they had seen or heard, and they even tried to convince them that these lights were not flashlights but garbage truck lights. I mean, it's pretty wild. It does make you wonder. And one of the routes I was going to go with this video, but then kind of discovered something else with the LPR data, and I think it is interesting. So we'll switch gears here in a minute, but I made this argument a few times, and I feel like this is such a bummer the way this happened. As most of you guys know, Nick Barris got a hold of some of the footage that from the house on the corner street that showed flashlights, but more importantly, it shows an unknown vehicle. Now, I think the homeowners, what they originally saw, because obviously the unknown car would obviously stick out more than these two little dots in the background. And what's a shame is that, with Nick Barris getting it, and I'm sure he saw the car, but probably decided not to play that part when, doing the news part, and instead just focused on the flashlights, which kind of makes sense because, in those early days, if, there's a car and they want to try to identify it before maybe someone destroys it, I'd kind of understand that. But what's a bummer is that really this video, in my opinion, was mainly to focus on the unknown vehicle, and we can see it even here as when, and I think that may be the reason why after Nick Barris released just the flashlights, that in a Facebook group, one of the extended family members or friends, I think it was a cousin or something like that, took some of the extra clip and released the part with the vehicle, because I think that's what they wanted to get out there. And then, even though there's this vehicle, it turned into the flashlight video, and I think that gave everybody, especially Crispy and Katie, an out to just speak about the flashlights and not talk about the car, which, in my opinion, is a huge red flag. I know we've gone over this, but could you imagine if the flashlights had never been mentioned? It wouldn't be the flashlight video. It would have been the unknown car video. And there's no way that they would have been able to spin that, saying that, oh, this is some vehicle that's in the neighborhood across, neighborhood behind them. Clearly, this vehicle's right next to the truck that's in the driveway. And sadly, that did not happen. And I find it very odd that none of them have ever addressed this specific item. The only thing Crispy has ever said is, no, there was no cars, which is BS, because there was cars. But I find it interesting that the only person that's ever really addressed this would be Fish Sticks, but and we'll get into the data here in just a second, but he went on a rant. All right, trying to time this. Waiting for this to zoom in. He took one of my videos where I was trying to use AI to kind of figure out, certain things that I could. And he was trying to say, well, this doesn't make sense. It's a car. This is supposed to be the headlight, and yet there's no light here, but then the headlight starts over here. Completely disregarding that clearly this is a tail light, and the headlight is probably just obscured by something, because maybe the car is at a slight angle. Again, that is a slight mystery, but that's the only thing he's ever addressed, and it's kind of hilarious. Yeah, pretty much, or or we want to talk about a trash truck. Oh, thank you, Joel. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people are, kind of invested in Nancy Guthrie case, and so I've been putting short videos out. And of course, Sebastian will always be at the top of my list. But there's just nothing really going on, and I hate to just beat a dead horse, but I do have some interesting things that, we have kind of gone over, but yeah, there's something I found that I kind of forgot about, because of course there is a lot of stuff, because it has been 2 years to kind of go back down the rabbit hole. So yeah, we're going to do that here in just a second. Yeah, Neuro. The headlights, it is weird for sure.
He's saying supposedly on the night that Sebastian that stops, pulls in. There is.
So this will be Crispy. So Crispy warning, we will be hearing a lot of Crispy. But I do believe Crispy is the one that kind of, adds little details that I do think are the truth sprinkled in with a bunch of BS, and we just have to kind of decipher, or extract those details.
The newspaper vehicle that comes in the neighborhood, every other vehicle in the neighborhood has or is accounted for. Law enforcement had put that out there. And to come back and dispute that, I think you're a bit of a fool. Yes, I'm going to say this out loud, Bob Crew, I think you're a fool.
He loves me.
Oh, Mob Crew's a fool because he makes Mr. Chris look guilty. Neighbors say there was a 3 a.m. vehicle. Number 2, never
Vehicle.
confirmation on neighbors taking out the trash. 3, newspaper delivery. Why isn't this delivery doing
Wi-Fi's that came in that
lights at 3 a.m. and was there a car?
I'm taking this as in reference to the Mob Crew's video.
And then, of course, we have the infamous Crispy now changing the garbage trucks, saying, yeah, that does sound ridiculous. I don't know how, I think they kind of figured that, 2 headlights are going to stay together. They don't split off. And then finally decided, we're going to turn this into a story that some neighbors walking his trash can down. And then, of course, I've already gone over that and exposed them for that.
To go ahead and tell you that, the one lights and the time on the videos are actually wrong. Law enforcement has confirmed that. The one looks like it's running down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. Down or something. That was actually the gentleman.
I love how he says admitted to that, right? As if he was like guilty of taking out his trash can.
Taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. When you look at the screen, there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
no vehicle, but yet we see
there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
So if it's not a vehicle, then what is it? Wouldn't you be curious? As we get into the LPR data, you are certainly fixated on how many cars were around the neighborhood. Well, Long Hollow anyway. You even had the number of vehicles. So if you're so interested in that, how in the hell do you disregard this piece of clip?
Everything that we have done and are currently involved with or have planned. It just, if you publicize it, then too many people get involved.
Everybody
and
runs it.
more
Yeah.
people just tend to get in the way for certain things, and it's just not conducive to what needs to be done, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an organizer. I'm not going to sit here and organize a 500-person search party, line us up in a.
Oh, poor Crispy. You know how many mothers and parents do that? Probably almost on a daily basis. I'm sure it's, with how many people that go missing every day. Candace Cooley had to do it. Amy Clune from the Aiding Clune case, she has to do it. And here you've got, unlike their situation, well, not Candace Cooley, because that was a little bit higher. Well, she actually had trouble because of where, he went missing. So they did actually have kind of an issue. I mean, they still got some big volunteers in and some big channels that came out, but, that was in the middle of the desert, and then same with Aiden Clune. But again, unlike a lot of these other cases that, you're in the 1% where, yeah, you could get a shit ton and you could just have somebody else be the organizer, right? You're just the one that kind of gets the ball rolling. I'm sure one of them would be more than happy to be the organizer. Just such a stupid excuse.
Line and start marching through fields. I can't, because there's a lot of legal issues. There's a lot of health issues. You got to have certain things in place, and it's just not something that we are equipped to do. But trust me, we do appreciate everybody looking. If you want to go,
You got arms and legs, right? And eyeballs. Man, that's pretty much it. That's the main thing: legs, eyeballs. And, you know, you can move around. Yeah, it helps to have some equipment, but
out there and look on your own. Please be safe. If you see something of interest, take pictures. Don't touch it.
Oh my
Reach out to your local law enforcement, whatever.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get to the LPR data here in just a second. If you can, hit that like button. And if you are coming over from Nancy Gusser case, I do appreciate it. I will be covering that more. And of course, for the Sebastian people, you guys know I am fully invested. I've spent thousands of hours reviewing surveillance footage, doing my part, which how many channels can you say have been able to do that? Not to disregard, everybody has their tools, their things that they're good at. I feel like I've kind of found my niche when it comes to surveillance video. But yeah, it's a lot. It takes a lot out of me, and you never know, especially going over new surveillance, you don't know if there's going to be anything in there. And so, spending hours before a live show, not knowing if I'm really going to have anything for a live show, because I don't know if I'm going to find something, or if I do, can I explain it that, seems rational and relevant, or is it just some blinking light that, I can't. So, it's tough. It is really tough. But again, I couldn't be able to do it without my community. So I cannot thank you guys enough for the love and support. So let's get on to it, because we're going to go over the LPR data and some of the things I've learned. And again, I'm still learning stuff, so it's all kind of new to me. And if you don't know what LPR, it's a license plate readers. And anyway, a channel called Hatfield and McCoy's, a lovely couple, Fred and Sheila, correct me if I'm wrong, such a sweet, down-to-earth people. And Fred, former law enforcement, correct me, I forget what Sheila did. I want to say school or something, but they did an interview over the phone, and I wonder, when they recorded this phone call, if Crispy even knew that it was being recorded, because never have they really explored theories like Crispy does in that interview. It was quite shocking to hear what he had to say. I know we've gone over it, but this will play into a part that there's something that I did not think about. I'm just going to let this play. This is, for those that don't know, this is Killen Ave. There's only two streets, the street the Sebastian lived on, and then this is next door. But we have this silver sedan. We've kind of narrowed it down to some kind of like Honda Accord, Hyundai Elantra, and a few others somewhere. With it having LED brake lights, it puts it somewhere in the post 2014. So we kind of don't have the exact year, but we have an approximate year and a few different models. But this car is seen the night before he went missing, which is the one you're seeing here. So this is the 25th. So Sebastian is still, he's probably in bed right now. And this is at midnight. That would have been technically Saturday night, early Sunday morning. And this car, there's something, like I said, it'll all come full circle back to this. that I never even thought about until now. Then we have the night that he went missing, sometime between midnight and 6 a.m. Yet there's tons of surveillance around the neighborhood, including a camera facing the backyard and the front of the home. Yet there is no evidence to suggest he even came out of the home. But the parents and a lot want to say that he somehow ran off barefoot because he didn't take his shoes, his wallet, keys, or cell phone. And then, interestingly enough, this car shows up again the day after he went missing, about the same time at 3 a.m. And it is the same vehicle. And they do the same thing all 3 nights. They go up to this. It's a dead end. There's kind of a four-way stop type deal. To the right would have been new construction, so they couldn't go through there. To the left, all of it's no outlet, so it's more or less a dead end. There's a cul-de-sac if they go left. But what's interesting is they do go left, but then they back up and kind of do like almost a 4-point turn or 4-point turn, a 3-point turn. And we'll come back to this because now I think I have an idea of what else this vehicle may have been used for. So the Hatfield and McCoy, where they did an interview sometime in October of 2024, correct me if I'm wrong, and then they didn't release it until last year, 2025. Because I think they thought they had lost it, and then they recovered it. But this, of course, is just a small excerpt from it. But what he says in this is very fascinating, and we'll get into license plate readers, the data, how easy is it to access, and much more. And I've learned a lot through ChatGPT. And the fact that some of the stuff that he knows and the way he mentions it is really odd. Really odd. Because he almost gets a little too specific. And for those that are familiar with the case, I'm sure a lot of you would agree that Crispy does tend to sprinkle some kind of truth mixed in with all his BS. Amateur Post. That's a great name. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. That is so sweet. That really, really helps me out. I missed a good chunk of February, and so I'm trying to play catch up. And I've had a really slow month, so that really, really helps me. God bless you. And Chicky, thank you for the membership for 3 months. Chicky says, Chris, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you. Again, I would not be here without you guys. I will never, ever forget that. I am nothing without you guys. All right, I'll put up full screen. I think this is the one I want to go full screen on. I apologize with the music. I grabbed this from somebody else, but there's some very interesting stuff, and it will all come full circle here back to that vehicle I talked about with the silver sedan. I can't believe I didn't even think about this scenario.
What do you all think happened to little Sebastian?
Oh, just a little context. Again, this is an interview that I just told you. There was a phone call that happened in the first year, and then they lost it. And again, I don't know if Crispy even knew that he was being recorded. It's actually Chris and KK, Katie, the mother. But of course, Crispy does 90% of the talking, as he always does. But they ask him some interesting questions, and we never ever hear them ever speculate on ideas or talk about the case and, any kind of, where, it could go, as far as theories or, some facts that they learned that they could share with the public. It's just been nothing from them. So this was really huge, in my opinion, to get this interview. I think this is probably one of the biggest things to come out from last year. Oh, thank you, Love Tina. Oh, you guys are the best. All right, I'm going to go full screen real quick here.
Do you have?
I'm down to literally, I'm only down to 2 scenarios here.
Okay.
And what I feel probably the most reasonable in my head that makes sense. So the first one is very simple.
Okay.
Sebastian got up, walked out of the house, walked out in the woods. He's out there somewhere, and we can't find him.
Okay.
That's the simple one. That's
right.
Sometimes simple is the way it is, but go ahead. Now the second one, Sebastian walked out of the house. Either it was planned or he was lured out of the house or something triggered him to leave out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to the long hole pike. And he got picked up in a car and they headed westbound along the whole pike.
Wow.
And westbound goes to I-65. Now, there's a license plate reader along the whole pike that goes, if you're traveling eastward, so if you're coming from Goodlettsville going toward Gallatin down along the whole pike, there's a license plate reader right there. And 76 cars from the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. were registered on that LPR.
Okay. Wow.
So all of those cars have been accounted for. Now,
Okay, this is where it gets really strange, and I'm sure many people have thought about this as well. And I do wonder if maybe he got east and west switched up, or which license plate reader. I don't think so, but this is interesting because he claims that they went west. Oh, I took down my Google map. Gallatin directions. Goodlettsville. Okay. So, and then we need to go like that. Boom. So this is Gallatin here. And for those that don't know, his mother lives up in this area here and likely had to stay there. For those that don't know the full backstory, there was 5 CPS reports. That's right, 5 CPS reports against the stepfather for allegedly abusing Sebastian Rogers. So bad that he could not be around Sebastian. Now, Katie, of course, he lived with Katie. This created, clearly, in my opinion, an easy motive because now, with Katie having full custody, more or less, shared custody, but she has Sebastian. Most of the time, the father, Seth, would only get him every other weekend. So we're talking anywhere from five to 6 days, I guess. It depends on, the month. right? And I'm not sure how, is it Saturday and Sunday or if he'd get them on a Friday, but yeah. So that means whenever Sebastian was gone is only when Chris could go and visit Katie because he could not be around Sebastian towards the end. So very easy motive there. One of many. They live where Sebastian went missing. Is in this area, and this is Goodlettsville. Now he says I-65, which is interesting because it goes north and south. Now he claims that there's some kind of license plate reader somewhere around in here that had 76 cars accounted for. Yet he interestingly, oddly, mentions that he believes that they went west. Yet the vehicles were accounted for. Am I missing something here? Anyway, let's go back to this.
He got picked up in a car and they headed westbound along the whole pike.
He got picked up in a car and went west towards the license plate reader.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. And he's privy to this information. Not privy, he's privy to this information.
And westbound goes to I-65. Now, there's a license plate reader along Hull Pike that goes, if you're traveling eastward, so if you're coming from Goodlettsville going toward Gallatin down along Hull Pike, there's a license plate reader right there. And 76 cars from the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. were registered on that LPR.
Okay. Wow.
So all of those cars have been accounted for. Now, what has not been accounted for is if you were traveling westbound, so if you were going from Gallatin to Goodlettsville, the one camera that could have picked anything up was not working, hadn't been working for 3 years. And that's at Long Hollow Pike and New Shackle, right there at the corner by the school.
So this is where it gets confusing. And did he just accidentally screw up? So we know for sure there's a license plate reader right here. And the neighborhood is literally, this is where he went missing. And there's a license plate reader here. He claims that this has been out for 3 months. So, yeah, he knows about 76, cars accounted for. But on which one? Because there is one, I believe, over down here. But wouldn't they be... This is where I think... Did he screw up? I'm so confused on that. But anyway, we'll continue because the 76 cars, just knowing that, he shouldn't know that.
Wow.
It hasn't worked for 3 years. Now, whether or not they're going to work it out, I don't know. But it hadn't worked for 3 years. So anybody going, like I said, westbound down Long Hollow Pike could have picked up Sebastian, picked him in a car, hauled butt down to I-65, and you'd have never known.
That was our second. This morning we were talking.
So it's interesting that he did mention the I-65, which then, of course, when you get over to that intersection, there's many different ways to continue. You can continue going west, but he, for some reason, mentions going north and south on the I-65. Then, of course, he starts out by saying that he believes someone coming from Gallatin, which incidentally is where we have Mama Socks, as we call her, living over that way. Yeah, Joel, it is weird. So again, there is the map that I just pulled up on Google Maps, and it is very odd. But then we get into the fact that how did he know about the 76 vehicles? And let me play this. But now in his story, it seems like he says that the license plate reader was working over here in Goodlettsville, and the one that is right by their neighborhood was the one that was not working for approximately 3 years. But it doesn't make any much sense because if he mentions Gallatin to Goodlettsville, it would make the most sense that you would want to know if there was a license plate reader there and it was working, then maybe that is the one he is talking about, but he kind of put his foot in his mouth and kind of screwed up on that one. I'm not sure. Again, I think this is one of those things where he's kind of give us a little bit of truth mixed with some BS, and then you start creating a web of lies, and you start kind of not making sense because I don't know which one. I mean, he says this one is the one that wasn't working. Yeah, I don't know why you would mention Gallatin because this would be right in the middle. This would make sense to know, okay, 73. I keep wanting to say 73. I'm sorry. 70 plus vehicles were seen between midnight and 6 a.m. The morning that Sebastian went missing. That would make sense, correct? Let me know in chat if there's something that I'm missing. But then we're gonna get into how to even know this information, and would he be privy to it? And for anybody that doesn't know, Crispy has been known to misuse the word privy and pervy. Right, Bo? I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're trying to make up a story, and I think he can't help himself but to add in some facts. I do wonder, again, I mentioned this a long time ago, I do wonder if Crispy's more of a blunt, straight person. Before all this happened, he's kind of one of those blunt a-holes that kind of just tells it as it is. And he's not good at this, storytelling game. Let me know what you think in the chat. But that's kind of one of my theories. Is I think he's always been a very blunt a-hole. And more or less a straight shooter. And now with all this, if he was allegedly involved, he now this is all new to him, and he can't keep the story straight. Let's see if he causes brain damage. Oh. Debutante. Yeah, I'm not sure how that works. I mean, yeah, technically this would be considered a cold case over a year ago, sadly. Um, unless they were working on some kind of lead behind the scenes, but yeah, I don't know. Cougar thinks, and Joel, yeah, that's just kind of a theory, as far as Crispy's former demeanor, uh, personality, and he's just not good at lying. Because that clearly, just one more time, this would make the most sense, especially when you're mentioning a point A to a point B, and you got an LPR reader, because there's only 76 license plate readers in the state of Tennessee. I don't know. They may have added more since I, got the report. Now I gotta look at that because now I'm thinking, am I being dyslexic? And let me let this play for a second. Look this up. In the state of oh, there's way more than that. I'm sorry. Oh no! Oh, that was on Long Hollow Pike. How many LPR readers? That's what it was. How many? Okay, yeah. Disregard what I said about how many. Where the hell? I just had that info. Yeah, disregard what I said. I completely. Yeah, there's over 1,000 in the state of Tennessee. I apologize. I forgot. I looked up Long Hollow. That's plate readers. I don't know why. Okay, Goodlettsville. One Long Hollow there. Anyway, not too many. Anyway. Yes. Liz. Villega. I'm just gonna go with Liz so I don't mispronounce that. But yes. Yeah, that's the question, Sherry. If it wasn't working, because it would make no sense for the one that's north towards Goodlettsville. Why are you worried about that one? I mean, of course, you know, you'd want to look at any data that you could get that could help find Sebastian, but it would only make sense that that would be the license plate reader that was the one that he was talking about. But here's what's interesting before we get into the next part. So this is what I learned, and again, I am far from an expert when it comes to license plate readers. I'm still learning a lot, but here's what's interesting. is when I did chat GPT on this. Let me clear this real quick here. So I asked it um, in the, let's see, would it be normal in the Sebastian Rogers case for detectives or FBI to tell Chris or Katie how many cars were captured on a license plate reader? He knew how many there were that night he went missing on Long Hollow. Oh, I think I meant to put how would he know? Boy, I typed that wrong. So anyway, but the main point is would it be normal for detectives to tell, you know, somebody like Chris and Katie about the license plate reader and vehicles? And, this is an active investigation, criminal or not, but obviously, most likely. And here is the answer. Would they normally share LPR data with parents? And it said no. In active investigations, especially those involving missing children, potential abductions, unclear circumstances, check, check, check. When it comes to Sebastian Rogers' case, law enforcement typically does not disclose investigative specific, including the number of vehicles captured, flagged, the volume. This is because it protects the integrity of investigation. Obviously, one of them would be if one or more of those, Chris and Katie were involved, that could spook them. And it said, would there be any exceptions? And it said they may tell parents something like, we reviewed the data, saying like, hey, we looked at that data. We are tracking a vehicle of interest. We've identified vehicles we want to speak with. However, giving an exact count, such as there was 43 vehicles captured between 12 and 6, would be considered unusually specific for an open case. So what are the explanations? He was given generally a general figure early on before the investigation tightened. Maybe. He interfered. He inferred it from publicly discussed traffic data, which I don't know how he'd do that. Or he was told casually by an officer before federal involvement. But I don't think that would have been the case because they were in there pretty early. And the earlier that you would think that he's searching that kind of data, yet, in the early days, they're all about, oh, he just wandered off, just makes it all that much more suspicious. And then it just kind of talks about what they would be told, that evidence is being processed, they're working on leads, but they wouldn't go down, especially the exact total of vehicles, and stuff like that. And then, we've seen that you can look at like highway live feeds, cameras that are on highways and stuff like that. You can access those, but actual license plate reader, that is, done by the police department slash government. And the public is not technically supposed to access or be able to access any kind of like live feed. Although we know that, Katie definitely has experience obviously with working with surveillance. So it would surprise me if she knew how to maybe get into that kind of system. But overall, it comes down to they shouldn't know these details, and law enforcement wouldn't be sharing those details, especially in an open investigation. So how do you know that specific number? May not hack the camera itself, but maybe hack into the system. I mean, kind of short, but yeah, it's certainly it's possible. I'm not an expert, and know all about that, but yeah. If you can, let's stay on this case. I'll be covering Guthrie likely tomorrow. Oh, Pretty and say just stopped in and say great job. We know who the smartest creator is. I appreciate that so much. I heard Nancy Grace took my my discovery with the second person and didn't give me any credit, but oh well. It is what it is. Anyway, I try to stay humble with that stuff, What comes around goes around. But yeah, so in a nutshell, again, that's something I never really looked up is, LPR data and, is it easy to access? Is it available for the public or is that more closed? And again, I kind of, when that came out, I was kind of on the assumption that, one of the detectives shared that with them. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible, right? But now, kind of looking at it, and especially knowing that, clearly within a few weeks or less, we don't know, but I'm sure they started, after realizing that, one of the biggest manhunts for a child in Tennessee ever, yielding no results. And then you have all these ring cams, video surveillance in the neighborhood that shows zero evidence of Sebastian. I think they started to kind of switch gears, and that's why, of course, I played the beginning part with the TBI agent saying, here we are, we're looking over the ring cam and surveillance, and we're looking over it and over again, which would only mean that they believe that there are the questions, the answers are there somewhere. I know, I heard. Thank you, Diary of Ghost. We'll be covering that case tomorrow, and I'll have a video out. I have more stuff, and I do appreciate, you guys. I know it's a big case. We'll be covering it tomorrow, and I promise you guys, I'll have hopefully some new stuff that, not many have talked about or missed. But yeah. I appreciate that, Debutan. I heard a few people have done that. If you do, I appreciate that. I don't ask that of you. I try to stay humble and but believe me, don't take that the wrong way. It means the world to see you guys stick up for me. You guys are amazing. So let's continue here because there's, like I said, I told you I'm going to come full circle with this whole LPR data and stuff, and it kind of hit me about a certain detail. There's actually two things that connect to this. So here is the next video. I think it's a couple of minutes, mostly with Crispy. No, don't tell anybody that. But I do appreciate the love and support. You guys are awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that, Diary. Truly, that is, it really means the world to me. Okay, next part. More of your favorite person, Crispy. I do apologize. I know listening to him is like nails on a chalkboard. And yeah, but I'm gonna play this part because I promise you we'll kind of come full circle with this idea. There's two things we're gonna go at. We're gonna go to the LPR data and then a possible connection to was Crispy giving us some hints as to where Sebastian could be. And this is kind of interesting because it does kind of play into the cemetery that, so we will work into that as well. I'm going to go full screen so I can read my phone real quick.
For him to go out the window, so to speak, he would have landed in the flower bed and, barefooted. Yeah, we'd have heard something because he had landed on it and screamed.
Yeah. What do you all think happened to little Sebastian? Do you have?
So I'm down to, literally, I'm only down to 2 scenarios here. Probably the most reasonable in my head that makes sense. Sebastian got up, walked out of the house, walked out in the woods. He's out there somewhere. Sebastian was not a tomboy. Yeah. He really wasn't. I mean, I know this is going to sound crazy, but a fly, spiders, even like a Charlotte spider, Sebastian freaks out. That's not him. Yeah. Now, granted, we used to have snakes, and he was all about the ball pythons. He was all about that.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
But insects, no.
Oh, God love his heart. God love his heart.
He was not a kid that liked to get out there in the dirt and play with cars and trucks and Tonka toys like we all used to do as kids, back when kids could be kids,
So he didn't go out into...
That's not Sebastian.
So he didn't like to go hiking or nothing like that then?
He liked hiking, but it wasn't like as we all used to do as kids, where we just walk off in the woods and we just didn't care and walk our way back home. No, we used to go hiking when we lived in California, down trails and stuff. I mean, all that stuff has been marked, and they're well known and stuff like that. And that stuff, yes, but not.
Yeah.
We all used to do as kids, where we just walk off in the woods and we just didn't care and walk our way back home.
I found this interesting. I love, again, so what I'm playing in, and I got to give credit because I like to give credit where credit's due. I always, when I play somebody's stuff, usually I try to make my own stuff, but I know every channel's different and there's no harm in playing other people's content and, transforming it into your own, of course. But this is a shout out to Lauren from Facebook. She posts a lot. She's a big advocate for Sebastian Rogers, so huge shout out to her. And Sasha, I love you, and I understand, with Crispy, I know it gets us, believe me, I got a lot of words for him that I would, all sorts of things that I would like to describe him, but I have to try to kind of keep it professional on the channel. But anyway, if you can, please try to make it easy on my mom, because I know Pocahontas is such a sweet lady, and she doesn't want to be, having to block people's comments, because, we're all here for Sebastian. So if you can, please make it easy on her. I know, I understand, Sasha. I know you've been with this channel for a long time, and I really appreciate everybody, truly. And I do apologize that we have to listen to Crispy so much. But again, it goes back to, as I've been saying the last few times, that I think he just cannot help but kind of mix in some truth. And so it's all about trying to extract those little details and then try to piece those together. But I find it interesting because it's like he almost tells some of the truth, and then almost immediately, this is just kind of what I've noticed, and then he kind of backtracks on stuff. Not all the time, but I noticed. Oh, you don't have a low Q. No, you don't.
For him to go out.
Yeah, we're just passionate. We're all,
so to speak. He would have landed in the flower bed and, barefooted. Yeah, we'd have heard something because he had landed on it and screamed.
Yeah.
So here he is being honest, because he can't help himself. Again, I really do believe well before all this happened, he was a straight shooter, and this is all new to him, that he's got to kind of, tell these stories, but he just can't help himself to, accidentally speak the truth, or, whatever, however you want to put it. But yeah, basically saying, yeah, anything that Sebastian would step on, you act like a girly girl, whatever. And we know Sebastian obviously being kind of sensitive and with his feet, and then having that bad experience with stepping on a beehive, which, sadly, it's not sad, but one of the earliest memories I have, I have earlier memories, but probably my first real traumatic memory was when I was being babysat with my cousin, and they were throwing cherries at a bee. And of course, this is just my luck. It was like 2 or 3 of them, and they're teenagers, right? And I'm like, I don't know, like 6 years old or something. And they're throwing cherries at this bee, pissing it off. And what does it do? It stings me. And of course, that was the first time I was stung, and it was very traumatic. I bawled like a baby. Being stung is not fun. I've broken many limbs and stuff. But I'll be honest, those, when you get first stung, just that initial shock, it's different. But anyway, but yeah, here he is saying basically, yeah, like, it'd be crazy for him to be walking around barefoot, because anything he steps on, this is Chris speaking, that he's basically gonna, kind of freak out or something. So it's just kind of counter to their whole story of him walking and wandering off into a wooded area with, rocks, bushes, thorns, whatever. It's counterintuitive of what he's saying. Cooper, oh, that is so awesome. Thank you so much, Cooper. Hope this helps. Hope you get back on your feet. Appreciate what you do. God bless. I will. Just sadly had a bad month with February. Feeling better. But thank you so much, Cooper. Huge support. It means the world to me. Thank you so much, Cooper.
What do you all think happened to little Sebastian? Do you have?
So I'm down to literally. I'm only down to 2.
Okay, sorry to get sidetracked. That same thing happened to me, Sasha. I had not a Slurpee, but a 7-Eleven Gulp, and the bee went into the straw because obviously I love sugar. I was at a skate park, skateboarding, and the bee went into the straw. And I'm out there skateboarding, and I have my drink, off on a bench or something, and I go up, grab my drink, I start to slurp, and I just feel this thing go right into my mouth, and it was a damn bee, and it stung me, somewhere on my upper lip as I was trying to spit it out. Oh my God, I was pissed. Anyway, that's crazy you mentioned that, because that happened to me as well.
Scenarios here. Probably the most reasonable in my head that makes sense. Sebastian got up, walked out of the house, walked out in the woods. He's out there somewhere. Sebastian was not a tomboy.
Oh, maybe that's.
He really wasn't.
I might have mentioned that.
I know this is gonna sound crazy, but a fly, spiders, even like a Charlotte spider, Sebastian freaks out. That's not him. Now, granted, we used to have snakes, and he was all about the ball pythons. He was all about that.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
So now he backtracks. Oh, well, now he's good around snakes. He screams like a girl when he jumps into a bush, but yeah, he can be around snakes. So here he is backtracking.
But insects? No.
No. God love his heart. God love
He
his
was not
heart.
a kid that liked to get out there in the dirt and
Yeah,
play
they
with
are.
cars and trucks and Tonka toys like we all used to do as kids, back when kids could be kids,
So he didn't go out and
That's not Sebastian.
So he didn't like to go hiking or nothing like that then.
Oh.
He liked hiking, but it wasn't like as we all used to do as kids, where we just walk off in the woods and we just didn't care and walk our way back home. No, we used to go hiking when we lived in California, down trails and stuff. I mean, all that stuff has been marked, and they're well known and stuff like that. And that stuff, yes, but not.
Yeah.
Yep.
As we all used to do as kids, where we just would.
So I'll come back to the. Let's see. Is it here? Time to start 6:30. Okay. Have we really been going for an hour and a half? Wow.
Now, I communicated with Chris Pratt.
Okay, this is the part that yeah, I'll go to this and then we'll come full circle on the LPR data. I should have switched this around now thinking about it. That's okay. So let's not forget, if you're not familiar with Gary Huge, used to be decent at doing mapping and stuff like that. He still does it. But what's interesting is he spoke with Crispy, and then he did a live doing this topographical overlay, which I can't believe that he signed off on this, considering he's kind of a stickler for details. But he got this just so wrong. And when I first saw this is what kind of deterred me from examining the flashlights. Because even though I cannot stand this guy, and if anybody ever wants to use the word grifter, because I hate it, it makes me cringe, this is the guy. This is the guy that will start ranting if you're not donating every other minute. Anyway, but this is what the FBI, and I don't blame the FBI. I really think it was just, some kind of secretary that just kind of wrote this up, but I cannot believe that they would use this.
Now, I communicated with Chris Proudfoot. We communicated via voice on Facebook, and we spent a good 20 minutes or so going over what this was, because he knows exactly where this is. To have it. Let's pull open the video. The video right here. You can see it. So you see right over here on the right hand part of the screen right there. This is
never mentioning like, hey, wonder what the hell this thing is.
There's a fixed light on that house. These are two lights up on a street that's behind the Proudfoots, on a house that's sort of up on a hill. And then this light right over here that's moving is actually a garbage truck on a hill up in the distance. When I was talking to Chris Proudfoot, there's a retention pond right here now.
Now, this is what I found interesting. I forgot about this. Now, this is where it comes into the cemetery stuff, because look where this is at. And if you guys, and when I do another live, I'm gonna have to get this, and hopefully his live show is still up, because I'm curious to see what else is in this particular part. But this is very fascinating, because this goes into, kind of connects to the cemetery. And if you recall how I was kind of saying, remember there was two dogs. Max, the one that just went into the retention pond here, but when looking at the footage, when the scent specific dog came a little less than an hour later, when he went, we could see that the dog clearly did not beeline it like the first dog, which we can see, it kind of can't really see once he gets down in here. But we can see that the scent specific dog literally goes down this, what I call the highway, before this road was here, but they kind of had a little highway, the construction people did. And that leads right to this particular pond. And then guess what? What's next door? The cemetery. But there's more. Yeah, I mean, I give credit where credit's due, even if I don't appreciate the person. Yeah, he's got attention for that, those details to a point. And that's why, when I first saw what he did, I thought, oh, well, okay, I guess that makes sense. And he spoke to Crispy. But then thanks to Silver's on the scene, many months later, and looking at the video again, and then, of course, along with Bobby's interview, talking about the flashlights being in the neighborhood and saying that it's ridiculous, a garbage truck, then I'm like, oh, I need to look at this again. And then, of course, here we are. Boogie Street, thank you so much for the membership. God bless you, Boogie. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the support. You guys are legends. But anyway, let's continue on. It's very interesting. I've got to find this live show and see what else was said.
Apparently. And they checked that pond, but it wasn't very deep.
No deeper than my knees.
I'm 5'9", and it was knee-deep.
And what he did say to me is they've been talking about that if he had backtracked and got lost, he could have walked all the way up into here.
And notice where he just went. Now, again, this would lean more towards a scenario that he may not be alive. And again, I pray that he is. But we have to keep, don't want to be tunnel vision, but
Goes to I-65.
I mean, look at if you just go the wrong way, that if he had backtracked
and of course, one of the issues that I had, let me just pull up my map so I don't have to keep fighting that. But one of the issues, with looking at that cemetery footage over and over and over and over and over and over again is that I never see, especially on the 25th, the night before he went missing, we never see any of the vehicles enter or exit, and there's 2 cameras facing the entrance to the south, likely meaning they came in through the back. And I find that very interesting that Crispy starts to talk about this wooded area up here, which again, did they formulate a plan? Did they move him over to the cemetery? 2 scenarios. One where they just handed him off to a different car and then put the license plate on. Because we know there's at least 2 vehicles there, especially on the night he went missing. Or did one of these vehicles actually end up going out the back? And did they temporarily put him up out in this wooded area, right? I could tell you also that, adds to this argument is at least one or more of these properties that I've got in this circle here did not want people searching their property, which I find very odd. I would get it, if they wanted to do it when they were being supervised, so they didn't, accidentally mess up any kind of equipment or leave a gate open, if they have animals. But I just can't see, people, I can, but being so cold to not even allow just a little bit of search. So it just does make me wonder, could that all be connected? Hey Kiki, good to see you, sweetie. Chris, can you please do a map of exact directions CP gives? Because Jackson, Tennessee, and different times are mentioned for whatever reason. Interesting. Kiki, in this video, if you're referring to this one, this is Gray Hughes, a YouTube channel, and this was done in like late March, April. I think maybe April. If somebody knows exactly, let me know in chat. But somewhere in there, about 2 months out, 2-3 months out from the case. But yeah, I find it very interesting, and it does kind of corroborate the fact that he talked about this pond and how I said that one dog did seem to go to this direction.
And got lost. He could have walked all the way up into here.
I personally feel he got picked up in a car and they headed westbound on Long Haul Pike.
Wow.
And westbound goes to I-65.
I mean, look at if you just go the wrong way in some of these places, you're...
He said Ellie has told us that Sebastian is most likely dead and that we need to search northwest.
Northwest.
Yes.
That.
Who is Ellie? Can anybody tell me that? Yeah, gray pubes. Yeah, this guy, just not professional. I hate to say someone's jealous of me, but I came on 4 years ago and I kind of started covering the same case that he was kind of known for covering, and I think he felt intimidated, and I tried to be pleasant with him in the beginning, but I could tell that he was, he didn't want me treading on his story, his baby, and I'm just trying to kind of come in helping. And anyway, ever since then, it just, yeah, very unprofessional. And yeah, anyway, not to get sidetracked, but yeah, does anybody know who Ellie is? When they mentioned that? Oh, is it law enforcement? Am I being... Wait, what?
That if he had backtracked and got lost, he could
Am
have
I that
walked all
dumb?
the way up into here.
I personally feel he got picked up in a car and they headed westbound on Long Haul Pike.
Wow.
And westbound goes to I-65.
I mean, look at... If you just go the wrong way in some of these places, you're...
He said Ellie has told us that.
Okay, I guess because when I saw the subtitles, that's probably what it is. So LE as in law enforcement. Okay, I got you. I'm sorry. Because I saw LE, and again, I really don't know these people, and so okay, that makes sense.
Sebastian is most likely dead, and that we need to search northwest.
Northwest.
Yes.
But did they say that? That's why I was thinking more towards like an LE person, because yeah.
That woods area gets so dense, and it's not just the density of it, it's these like thorn pricker like bush type things. So you can't send the canines back there because they're gonna just cut themselves up.
He's got a stubborn mindset. He believes it's this.
If they're not used to running with goggles, which most aren't, you got their eyes.
Nothing. And the strangest part about this was this guy was wearing dark black wide like ski goggles.
That woods area gets so dense.
I sat there. It was one single flashlight, and it was like walking in the back, kind of over in the back of the woods area, and it like.
Yeah, I am curious about that area.
She's trying to say I did something nefarious in that 17 hours that it takes to allegedly drive from here, go get my trailer, pack it up.
What time? Yeah, we were going to kind of go over the trailer, but I don't want to. Maybe we'll save this for a second show. But to come full circle, something that never crossed, that I didn't even think about when it came to this car. So the vehicle, the silver sedan that's seen 3 nights in a row, and then just before I put this all together, let's not forget that right after we have law enforcement literally taking the so now this is the 27th now, so this is day 2. And at least 2 nights in a row, if not more, because we only have, at least from the footage I only have the 27th, 28th, as far as after he went missing. But on both nights, coincidentally, at 3 a.m., just around the time when we saw the silver sedan, we can see that they took that same exact route almost did the same exact 3-point turn. And we know this is undercover SUVs. I've done a video on it. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the... That's the third night. But after, there is law enforcement. And yes, that is an undercover or unmarked, likely HPD vehicle. You can tell by the rims. They have a very unique set of rims. And they do the same thing. They're there on the 27th. And they're even there on... And as you can see, almost 3 a.m. There they are as just a different vehicle, but they do the same exact thing. They turn and look towards the construction area for a minute and then back out. And then they go down the cul-de-sac as well. And of course, we had a neighbor that went on and even said that they had seen this happen multiple times after Sebastian disappeared. So, and they were coming around the time that silver sedan was. I don't think that was no coincidence at all. Did I say that right? I don't think that was a coincidence at all. Yeah, that sounds better. So now full circle, we'll have to get to the trailer. Oh yeah, and here it is. Wait, no, is this it? Anyway, so what I wonder with the LPR data, and the fact that he knew the 76 vehicles, which, according to ChatGPT and other research, again, it's one thing to look at a live feed from just a regular surveillance camera on a highway. We see that in traffic reports. They tap into those little live feeds. But when it comes to these actual license plate readers, these are for, government, law enforcement. And then the fact that, he claims that this one wasn't working, yet somehow that there's 76. To me, it just seems weird that they would tell him that there's 76 over here. Just really weird. But the last thing that I want to add is, this silver sedan that shows up 3 nights in a row, the night before, the night of, and the night after. What if one of the things, if this vehicle was involved, which I think there's a high possibility it was, because we still have not been able to figure out who this vehicle belongs to. Could this vehicle also be not only doing recon for the neighborhood, but were they doing recon for, say, the license plate reader data? Were they somehow hack into it, getting an idea of kind of when the traffic is at its slowest, and etc. But let me know what you think in the chat. But I think this vehicle was used more, if it was involved, was possibly used as the scout Long Hollow, considering that is the main street. When if you were to extract Sebastian into a vehicle. Conflict of interest. Ooh. Not sure with who. I'm a little out of the context, but yeah. Sumner County do not have the case. The vehicle is another reason the feds would have the case. Yeah, they refuse to clear Seth so they can keep it. Yeah, I'm not sure about all that. Okay, Kiki. But yeah, let me know what you think. I definitely think this vehicle had more involvement than we think. And maybe they were looking up, where the license plate readers were, because obviously that would be very big to know. Obviously, with the Madeline Soto with Stephen Stearns, and of course, one of the ways they caught him is with the license plate reader, among many other things, of course, his phone as well. But establishing a timeline license plate reader was huge. Oh, good evening, Fairbanks. Good to see you, sweetie. Yeah, God, this went a little bit faster than I thought it would. I was going to kind of touch on the trailer because I haven't really talked much about the trailer and kind of before he went missing, and then a little bit about where they went after he was missing. There's some stuff that I haven't really touched on. I know many other channels, Voices of Truth, of course, and many others have done an amazing job breaking some of that down. And of course, there's still a lot of surveillance footage. And, again, with February, I'm trying to make it up. And right now, a lot of people are just interested in Nancy Guthrie case. And, of course, Sebastian's always going to be at the top. But, I just hate to beat a dead horse. If there's not really much to go over. But yeah. Currently, it's a great question, and I always defer to how. Let's see, do I have it in here or not? I don't. But in my last live, I talked about this case, how Chris and Katie have handled it versus Candace Cooley, and how she literally got it out of. Now she didn't get it directly in FBI, but what she did was, because the county that was working on it, which I believe was Box Elder, they weren't doing shit, and they were literally, as days were going on, the killer was throwing evidence away. And she went out there practically every other day, protesting and saying, this needs to get into somebody else's hands. And what happened is, the second she got it into, I believe it's Weber County, which is the neighboring county, second they got it into their hands, they were willing to work with the FBI. And so them and the FBI worked together, even though the FBI was never the lead. The FBI being assisting, they literally went and grabbed, the vehicles that still needed to be taken in, trailers, etc. And they got the ball rolling, and arrest came shortly after. So technically it doesn't have to be the FBI, but it just needs to be another entity that is willing to not be stubborn and be open and be able to, work with other agencies and utilize those FBI resources. Yes, Veronica. Oh, yes, 100%. I almost think, Veronica, that when he said that, I almost think, because, we kind of went over this, he mentions Gallatin to Goodlettsville, right? Why would you mention Gallatin? Why not Hendersonville to Goodlettsville? Because that's where he went missing. Why would you mention the starting point here and end point here and then try to kind of claim, oh, this one's got the license plate reader, and they're going west? This would make sense. I wonder if there's a way to find out if it was working or not. That would be interesting. I don't know if we can or not, but that would be very, very interesting. Because I don't know why you just would not say Hendersonville to Goodlettsville. Right? So I think you're right. I do think that's why he yeah. Oh, it's okay, Pocahontas. Her comment. But yeah, I agree. Oh, the caps thing. We don't worry too much about the caps anymore. But yeah, if you can, try not to refrain from them. But yeah, I appreciate it. Pocahontas is kind of. I appreciate everything she does. Oh yeah, you guys are fine. No worries. No worries. But yeah, I agree because yeah, I just said, the fact that he gave this starting point and end point, it's just it doesn't make sense. Yeah, God, it's been 2 years. So I don't know how we'd be able to find that out. I'll have to look up how often. One last thing before you guys go. Because what do you say, for 3 years?
What do you all think happened?
Sorry, I'll turn this down. Wait, I want to look this up real quick. This is a good question.
I'm down to, literally, I'm only down to 2 scenarios here.
Okay.
And what I feel very
typical,
probably the most reasonable in my head that makes sense. So the first one is very simple.
Okay.
Sebastian got up walked out of the house, walked out in the woods. He's out there somewhere, and we can't find him.
Okay.
That's the simple one.
That's right. Right.
Sometimes simple is the way it is, but go ahead. Now the second one,
Oh.
Sebastian walked out of the house. Either it was planned or he was lured out of the house or something triggered him to leave out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to the long hole pike. And he got picked up in a car and they headed westbound along the whole pike.
Wow.
And westbound goes to I-65. Now, there's a license plate reader along the whole pike that goes, if you're traveling eastward, so if you're coming from Billettsville going toward Gallatin, that long whole pike.
Hold on.
Reader right there. And 76 cars from the hours of midnight to 6 a.m. were registered on that LPR.
Okay. Wow.
So all of those cars have been accounted for.
Okay. So this is interesting. He says 3 years, right? That it was out. It is not typical for them to leave something like this for 3 years. The only way they would do that is if it was destroyed by weather or whatever, and they plan not to fund it. I would think that they would take that down. Three years, February 2021. Why is there a damn blur right there? Does not look damaged in any way. As a matter of fact, they replaced it sometime between March of 2019 and March of 2022. So you would replace it yet that doesn't make any sense. We could find out more about this. There's an article saying that yeah, I made to do some research behind that because they clearly replaced it 2019 between 2019 and 2022. It doesn't look damaged in any way. I mean, I could be wrong. They're kind of the same thing, but they're made. I mean, I guess I shouldn't talk too much about it because I don't know all the exact details, but they're made basically designed to, because they have like probably algorithms that are attached to some software that helps read license plates. But yes, in a sense, they're more or less a camera. in my opinion, does he know the car had no plate and maybe using LPR down as an excuse? Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah, you could look at it a couple of different ways. Yeah, from what I looked on Google, it says either they just abandoned them or um yeah, they're repaired. I don't know how I don't know if I looked at how often they repair them if they're broken, but yeah. Yeah, 3 years is not normal unless it's just completely abandoned. Why would they abandon it for 3 years and then didn't somebody say that they got a new one? Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah, that's what, again, I still don't know all the ins and outs of LPR systems. From what I understand, most of them are, government owned, but maybe state to state, maybe there's some different loopholes or people that own them in certain areas. Again, I'd have to do more research on that, but I do think at the end of the day, it's a big clue. And again, it just doesn't make sense what the hell he's saying. Completely makes no sense. And then that just falls back onto the silver sedan that nobody's ever been able to identify, and makes me wonder. Not only was this car canvassing the neighborhood, but was it, I don't know, hacking into the system, or I've seen some alleged apps that you could get into the LPR, but I don't know if how much truth there is to that, so I don't know. Oh, thank you, Marsha. I'm fine. I mean, I'm doing a lot better now. Um, yeah, it kind of sucks, February being a short month, and I missed, kind of a week and a half with the short month, so it's kind of a bummer. But I always, I'm not a big, I don't spend my money just other on my bills. I don't. I've said this time and time again. I'm not big on money. As long as I can make enough to pay my bills, I'm fine. I don't need, you know, fancy things in my life. I got I got my TV, my gaming system, I got my buddies, and that's good enough for me. Some people, want more, and that's fine with them. I'm pretty simple. Uh-oh. Sasha got Sasha got timed out by Nightbot. Sasha's being picked on. Poor Sasha. I don't know what you put in there. Nightbot can be finicky sometimes. I think sometimes there can be some random word or character you put in there sets it off. That's weird. Anyway, guys. Yeah, that would make sense. Insurance companies, right? I'm assuming they have to get. If I recall, I remember I looked up a little bit, like for any kind of public to get any kind of access to the records, they would, need to obviously go in and request, whatever data from them. So, yeah. Veronica, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. You are so sweet. God bless you. Tomorrow I'll probably be back on the Guthrie case unless something happens. From what I understand, the walk. Trying to think how they titled it. But anyway, the walk that they're supposed to be doing, the protest, it was supposed to be Monday through Thursday, but now I believe it's Wednesday and Thursday. Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, there's that. And then we will probably on Thursday, I don't want to say too much, but with the money left over, we'll probably just during the live show, I'm going to donate a big portion to, I don't know, maybe we could vote, but I was just thinking the National Missing Child Association. Or maybe autism. I don't know. Again, maybe we'll vote on it or whatever, but I think that in honor of Sebastian, of course, we tried to use that money for the keychain. Unfortunately, such an amazing idea, but unfortunately, there was legalities, and it's so stupid because I think it would have been such a big hit, and of course, I'd go rant on about how dumb that is. I get it to a point, but it would have been so cool, and I just think such a big wasted opportunity. Oh, does it start? Oh, it starts tomorrow. Oh, okay. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday then. Well, I hope it goes well. I believe in that kind of stuff. You got to get out there, protest, and I pray, something happens. And then, unless something major happens tomorrow, I'll probably cover the Guthrie case because there are some things that I'm working on with that. I did put out a video today. If you haven't seen it, go check it out regarding that case. And then of course, definitely on his anniversary, it'll be about Sebastian. We'll go live. I'm sure many people will. And I'll be curious to see if they do an interview in regards to Crispy and Katie. And it'll be interesting to see what a shit show that will be. I'm sure it will be a closed session where all the questions are asked in advance, well before they actually interview him. And yeah. Oh, is it Tuesday through Friday? Yeah, okay. Well, I hope the best of luck to them. And yeah, I really wish it'd get out of Sumner County's hands because, my God, yeah. There's something that you want me to look at before I get off? Oh, you got a video on LPR. Ooh.
Working with videos can be frustrating. Luckily, UniConverter makes things simple.
608, here's what's all new this hour. Lawrence police are working to fight crime, and they're doing this with some new technology. Let me break it all down for you. The department has installed license plate reading cameras across the city. Now, they make police aware
this
a
is
car has
Carolina,
been stolen.
though.
It also alerts police when there's a wanted suspect from another state or national crime database that's been found. Well, the cameras can also recognize vehicles associated with missing persons cases. The department says the cameras are a technology company that works with more than 2,000 police departments across the U.S. Lawrence PD releasing a statement saying in part, quote, "These cameras are like adding hundreds of officers to our staff, but without the expense. This is a game changer for our department, and criminals need to be on notice that if you are committing crimes in Lawrence, we will arrest you," end quote. Police say the new cameras have already helped with multiple situations, including a manhunt and a chase.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, I mean, that's great. That is awesome. Yeah, I want to look up. Thank you, Kiki. And yeah, I'm kind of curious if I could find any more details about that specific LPR, and was it really out of service like they said, or Crispy said, or can we kind of box him into a lie, which again wouldn't surprise me. Oh, you sent me. No worries. I'll take a look at it, and of course we'll touch on it. I'm sure, in the next time we go live. Because yeah, there's some things I want to look up. So, if you do find what you're looking for, send it to me. I appreciate that. I think it was a Denise. You want to remember, right? No, I think I have two Denises. I did see your pet pic. I just got done doing them, but I will save it. And then when I do another one, I try to do it once a month because it just it's hard to just keep adding them every week. It's too much. But I will hold on to it and be patient with me, and I will get worked into a new one very soon. With that, I'm going to end it there. Thank you to everybody being here. And just real quickly, Blue Third, thank you so much. Amateur, God bless. BZ, thank you so much. Cooper, God bless you. It really, really helps. Kiki, thank you, and I will look for your email. And Veronica, thank you so much, sweetheart. Thank you guys so much. And of course, Boogie, Chicky, and all my members and Patreons. And one last thing. I am going to try to release more of the surveillance footage. I think I accidentally reproduced the same one that I already uploaded. I upload them in 1 hour increments. I think I accidentally duplicated it on the member side. So, in regards to Sebastian Rogers, so hopefully in the next couple days, maybe to make up for it, I'll release a couple of hours or something like that. So I'll let you guys know that, obviously, on my Facebook group, or just look out for it. With that, I'll end it there. God bless you guys so much for the love and support. And yeah, hopefully I'll be back tomorrow covering Nancy Guthrie case. And then if any interviews come out earlier than as far as Crispy or Katie, we'll of course go live. And yeah. With that, thank you to my wonderful mods, Pocahontas and Sassy. I hope your finger gets better. And thank you to everybody for the love and support. And we will see you guys tomorrow or Wednesday. So God bless you guys.
Much to bear and you don't care, and I won't play alone. I got you in my sight. I keep all the words you say. said that I should